Hi, and welcome to TV My Husband Hates. I'm Cat Sims.
And I'm Reagan Kempton.
And we are reality TV addicts.
Addicts, aficionados.
Ooh, I like that. Experts.
Experts.
Basically, we know our shit when it comes to reality TV.
100%.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of TV My Husband Hates. We are back again, as ever, every week, except we are going to be taking a break this year, aren't we, Reagan?
We are going to take because both Fridays, like Christmas and New Year's, both fall on Fridays, which are our days to record. And this year, we're just going to have to take them off because we've been hard at it, man. It's been a weird year, and we need a little bit of a break.
We need a break. Do you know what? I'm looking forward to being able to watch the shows without having to take notes.
Right?
I'm so excited. Like, I normally have, say we watch like 5 or 6 shows a week, like the best part of 5 or 6 hours. So normally, pre-podcast, I would spend those 5 or 6 hours cleaning the bathrooms or doing some ironing or cleaning the kitchen because I could watch that shit while I was doing those things.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I have to sit down for those 5 to 6 hours to write the notes, which means that basically the bathrooms don't get cleaned and the ironing doesn't get done. So my family are going to be like, fuck the clothes are ironed, fuck the bathrooms are clean.
Yeah, I don't know if my family will go completely that far, but it'll be nice just to have some downtime. I'm pretty bad at scheduling downtime for myself. I think that comes from when you work for yourself. You just work all the time and you don't take vacation, you don't take time off. And so during this whole COVID thing, I've not had any time. Like my work schedule and podcast schedule has just gone on, which again, totally not complaining about. I love this podcast about these shows, but it'll be nice to take some, like actually have downtime with my family. That's what I'm looking forward to.
I mean, I think because you've only been self-employed for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, for 3 years.
I mean, I've kind of been self-employed for 10 years now, and so I have got to a point where I know that it's so important to me to stop. And like last Christmas, I didn't even go on Instagram for a whole week. And I know to normal people that sounds like, well, all right, that's not weird. But for me, I spent 8 or 9 hours a day on Instagram. Like that was fucking weird, and it was like I was addicted. Like it was like I had to not have my phone on me, otherwise I was still looking. But funnily enough, a couple of days, and then I didn't even want to go back on.
No, I think it'll be really nice for all of us to unplug. I mean, we'll of course still be watching shows, and we'll still have the group up. You want to throw something up in our group on Facebook? Do it. You guys have chats all on your own about what's going on the shows. Maybe some of us will chime in if we can't quite get
I need to get on
our
that
social
group
media
a little bit more. I need to get a little bit more into the whole TV My Husband Hates social media thing, and I have been really slack on it, but I've been slammed with other stuff. But lovely Reagan, who is an absolute superstar, is keeping the whole fucking thing afloat right now. So on a public level, and I have said this to her privately, but on a public level, I would like to give big props to my co-host Reagan, who didn't bitch and moan when I was like, I can't do it, I'm really struggling with time. She was like, babe, don't worry, I've got this. Just let me know what you need. And so big props to you. Yay. I love you. Thank you very much.
Well, ultimately, that's the way a partnership works. We just have to communicate our needs, and one will take up for the other when it's needed.
It's true. That couples therapy is working out really well.
Also, really quickly, if you guys could hop on and rate and review, we always leave this to the very end, but I feel these past couple of weeks we have been better about doing it at the beginning. So hop on to iTunes, give us your star rating, write a little thing in the comments. We love to hear what you guys think, and it helps us, spread the word.
It does. Now, listen, there's going to be a slightly different lineup today because we have we've removed Salt Lake City from our lineup, not because we've removed it for good, but because we had a guest who wanted to talk about Salt Lake City. So you will find that we have also released a mini-sode this week with the amazing David Yontef, who hosts the Behind the Velvet Rope podcast. And let me tell you, this guy knows every single Bravo celebrity, reality TV star personally, and he brings the tea to our mini-sode, doesn't he?
For sure. I loved him. Like that, the interview was so much fun. We actually just did it. So
We did. So we're like buzzing a little bit off the back of that. But so we won't include Salt Lake City in this. We've got him for an interview. He tells us all about Behind the Velvet Rope and all his kind of experiences and chats, and gives us his opinion on the people he's met in real life. And we discuss Salt Lake City. So if you want to listen to that, then head over there and make sure that you do that too.
Yeah, go to the mini-sode. And also, we have Postbag this week. So the Postbag question was based on Below Deck, where we had the guest celebrating his 50th birthday who totally spunked his load too soon, which I am 100% guilty of doing most of the time. So the Postbag question was, tell us about your most memorable birthday.
Well, we had a few answers come through. We had, let's just start off with Jenny M. Max, who said, my 40th in Ibiza, close friends, family, good music, food, epic. This is 40. Now, let me tell you, that's my perfect 40th. Like,
oh, hell yeah.
Swanky villa in Ibiza, friends, great food, a ton of nannies to look after the children. That's my dream for my 40th.
Yeah, I think we could try to make that happen. Maybe we have to make it for our 41st, but it can still be there. Or we just leave all the kids at home. Here's another one. My 21st, my dad and best friend got hammered taking shots and dancing on the table. What is
it with dads at birthday parties?
Dude, I think normal dads cut loose. Like, my dad is not a normal dad, so you would never see him, like, doing shots. He'd be the quiet one, like, drinking a Shiner Bock.
So my dad's weird. Like, I remember, this is, like, kind of a traumatic experience for me. And he swears that it's not true, but I know for a fact it's true. There are two traumatic experiences. One was like my 6th or 7th birthday, and we had like a garden party because my birthday's July. And my dad, who is 6 foot, he was probably like 6'2", 6'3", tall, skinny, looks exactly like John Cleese, like Monty Python's John Cleese. He dressed up in a Boy Scout outfit. Reagan, like, you can't see it, but like her face reflects my feelings.
Like an American Boy Scout uniform?
Well, no, like a British one. It's like short grey shorts, like a woggle, and a cap. It was weird. It was really
woggle?
Weird. A woggle's like, you get a scarf and you wrap it around, and then the woggle is like the little thing that holds
the little thing there.
Together.
Got it.
It was really bizarre, and it always freaked me out a little bit. It always felt a little bit inappropriate in a way that I couldn't quite put my finger on. He just looked a little pervy. I'm going to be honest. He just looked a little pervy.
That's really weird.
He did. And then the other birthday experience wasn't my birthday. It was actually my dad's 50th birthday. And we had a big, big party up at the house in the Yorkshire Dales, and it was like deranged. Like, everybody was hammered, and me and my best friend were there just like serving canapes and trying not to get in the way, but also sneaking booze and stuff. My dad got given a gold sequined thong. Yeah, Reagan, you can already see where this is going. And everybody was like, put it on, put it on. I'm not joking. I was like sat there going, please don't do that. And he went off, because obviously he was half cut, went off, put on his thong, and then dropped his trousers in front of everybody. It was so mortifying.
Oh my.
I know.
Oh,
and I will never get that image out of my mind. I can tell you exactly where he was standing in the room. I can tell you the color of the chair he was stood next to. It is forever going to be branded on my brain.
Oh no.
Papa KF.
He doesn't even have an ass. So, like, for me, like, the way I'm picturing it is like just this like flat thong back.
Awful. I mean, I got the front view.
Oh, even worse.
I'd rather have seen the butt than the bulge.
By far want to be in the tail end of that situation.
No, I got the bulge.
Oh.
No. Oh, God.
No.
Okay.
No, that's not okay.
Let's do some more post-bag answers. Sorry to hijack that. So
Right.
here's one that from Ginge Gould, and my heart goes out to this woman. I want to give her a cuddle and a shot all at the same time. She says, I can't remember my 21st for all the wrong reasons. I developed the day before my 21st, spent my birthday and the following week in resus, all developed from mastitis from my 3-week-old baby. A morbid story, but it means that I've really cherished every birthday since.
Oh, what is resus?
It's like I think it's like.
Is it like intensive care?
That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, that's a dark birthday story.
Oh, that's horrific.
Also, whenever anybody says the word
man.
mastitis, I just feel pins and needles in my boobs, like
Me
so
too.
bad.
Like they almost get hard and like
are
bracing themselves.
It's like phantom mastitis.
Phantom mastitis, 8 years after the fact.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's a terrible one. This next one is, I fell through a glass table on my 27th birthday. Woke up the next day and asked what happened. I can identify so hard with that. I don't think I've broken a table, but I can definitely say that I've been on the lash and woken up and been like, what the fuck happened to my shoes?
Yeah.
You know? Or something.
Yeah. No, I mean, I totally know. I mean, I've woken up like with holes in my clothes going, how did that, and like nothing sinister.
Yeah.
But, like, did I fall over? And everybody's like, did you fall? Like, you basically crawled home? And I will have not remembered.
No, me too. Or I've woken up with like really like scuffed up knees because I've like tripped and because I'm not coordinated on the best things.
The unidentified drunken injury.
For sure.
We've all been there, but let's get on with our very first show, which is, of course, as always at the moment, Potomac. And interestingly, I think let's kick off with Wendy and her mum and that chat.
I feel for Wendy, man, because it took a lot of guts for her to have this conversation with her mom with all their history. But her mom was like not into this conversation at all. I could not believe that she calls Wendy like a spoiled brat and essentially says everything good in Wendy's life is her doing.
And I think it's really important to remember that this is so culturally embedded. Like, this isn't just her mom being kind of a witch. Like, this is such a cultural thing. And not just the Nigerian thing, but also just the immigration thing as well, right? Immigrants from everywhere, parents tend to be really hard on their kids and have super high expectations because they feel like they have sacrificed so much in leaving their home country and their family behind to give the best to their kids, that when their kids don't like make the most of it and get straight A's and excel and become doctors, they feel slighted by it. And I can understand that, but it also does a part of me where it sits so difficultly in that surely there's more of a self-awareness as well. And it's like, don't you just love your daughter and you want her to be happy?
Well, let's be real. It's not like she's talking about, I don't know, like ditching being a professor and becoming like a professional bow maker or like just a hobby. Like, she's stopping. She doesn't want to be a professor anymore, so she can pursue being a political analyst on very highly sought after network shows to like really put out, you know, the African woman point of view and like really make her voice heard. Yeah. Which is what her mom is all about.
Yeah, I agree. It's not like, you're right. It's not like she's saying I'm going to go off and be a bloody influencer. Do you know what I mean? An Insta-wanker. She's like, I'm actually going to go and do something quite, like, lend my voice to a fight that's really current that needs to have strong black women.
Hell yes.
Being proponents of, you know, I mean, this is not like, you know what I mean? I think her mum, though, it's old school and I think she comes round in the end, doesn't she? She does kind of say, like, you know, I want you to be happy and sort of pulls it together. But it is a whole different thing because it's just not something that we would do as mums, or in fact that we'd even expect our mums to do.
For sure.
And then the Michael and Ashley.
I was going to say, let's continue the family disappointment train. But Michael finally has to have the chat with Ashley's family. And
How are we feeling about Michael? Like, are we feeling like he is changing? Do we buy it? What's going on?
I'm of two minds, because obviously in real life, Ashley is pregnant for the second time, and she said she she kind of made the vow that if everything happened again, she would leave him. So in my mind, I kind of know, okay, maybe he's really turned it round, because he's actually had something to lose this time, and everything is fine. But on my other mind, I'm like, dude, this guy is not going to change. He's like 60 years old. There are not a lot of 60-year-olds change who they are. Like, who they are inside.
Like, I think it's possible, but I think it needs a shit ton of therapy, and I think it needs an active decision on his part. You know, I don't blame Ashley's family at all for putting him through the ringer. Like, I would do the same. I would expect a face-to-face apology. I'd expect to be able to grill him and make sure that this was, like, it, and to lay down the law. But I don't see him doing the work that I think probably needs to be done.
For sure. I mean, obviously, it's not out there that he has done the work. He could be doing the work, and don't know if he has it in him to change. Yeah. And I don't mean to be an asshole about that. I just feel like this has been such a pattern in his life. And I'm sure it was a pattern in his life pre-Ashley. I mean, I'm sure this is just who he is. And ultimately, it's fine if you're not married and, you know, you're not harming your children to do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I'm down with that. But I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see him changing, but then I also see Ashley being a really good influence on, like, I do think that they have this connection. Yeah. And I wonder if the baby and her being strong for the first time and really laying down the law is going to be enough. Maybe it is. I mean, she's still with him.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah, I mean, that kind of leads me to believe it is. Like, if they're still together, I think maybe she's, you know, really helped him see the light, but we'll see.
We'll see. Now, this week's big event officially was the wig party, which kind of started last week with people asking Karen while they were in Portugal whether Karen was going to invite Monique. I mean, and Karen very clearly said no.
Yeah, categorically no.
I am not inviting Monique.
I know it will be a problem. I'm not going to be inviting her.
Candace said, thank you. I really appreciate that. Right. So this was a very clear conversation. The BT show, we saw it all.
Yeah.
Then it turns out that she did invite Monique, but Monique has said no.
Right.
So I don't know whether she just took Monique's turning down of the invitation as a chance to look like the big guy and say, oh, look, I'm just not inviting her, when actually she had, but she said no. Or whether she just said she wasn't going to invite her and then invited her anyway, and Monique turned it down. But then she encourages Monique to come.
Yeah. Why don't you come early, help me set up, do all that kind of stuff, so, like, you can still support me but not be around the girls, right?
Yeah.
Which is so ridiculous. Like, 30 minutes is no time. Don't ever invite somebody to do that and then fucking push them out the door because somebody may happen to come early. It was so horrific.
But that was awful. But then we find out, Candace says, well, she asked me to come early too.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether Karen was thinking in her, like, this grandiose way that the Grand Dame would be the one to kind of bring them together and have this sorted out. Obviously, Candace is late to everything, so didn't turn up early as well.
Right.
But it's weird because then when Candace was arriving, it's like she kind of orchestrated to bring them together, but then was in a hurry to get Monique out of the door. Like, I don't know what Karen's playing at.
I don't either. But I do think you're right. I think Karen, in her wisdom as the Grand Dame, thought that if anybody was going to be able to make these two women come together, it would be her. And maybe if there was, like, you know, there was this, like, time crunch on the event, she'd be able to make it happen. But then, yeah, maybe she couldn't figure it out. I don't know. It was, like, the most awkward interaction on TV until some later interactions in the same party.
Well, and then the girls kind of challenge her on it, right? And they're like, so what's going on with this? And she
Because wouldn't you?
Right.
Because you would. You'd be like, hey, you told us she wasn't coming, and she was coming. Like, what are you playing at?
And she just gets super defensive. Like, she storms out of her own party, not before throwing Robin a parting shot out of left field about what Juan's doing when he's drunk.
Listen, Karen has something deep and dark against Robin, because I feel anytime Robin says anything to her, like, Karen just, like, flips the bitch switch and immediately goes, like, defensive, dark, and deep on whatever Robin has said, even if it doesn't make any damn sense.
I mean, I just think Karen is one of those people that if she's ever caught out in a mistake or a lie, is denied till she dies, right? There's never any
100%
with Karen. So she'll always just fight fire with fire. She'll just create drama and storm out rather than confront any real issue. But this throw out to Robin is so weird.
But this is the thing. I feel like she is defensive with everybody, but she is fucking mean to Robin. She was mean to her by the pool earlier on, like this season, when she just mentioned something. She was when she like mentioned the drinking or whatever. She got real defensive and just fucking mean to Robin. And then this is like the second time Robin has said something directly to like challenge her. And again, it's been like right below the belt, right in like the fucking heart spot. Like, she's just a dick to her. And Robin is so fucking cool. Like, there are a lot of other people who I think would warrant being more of an asshole to. Like, you could be more of an asshole to Candace. I'm sure she's said something fucking really, really wrong to you. You could be more of an asshole to Giselle. Like, there are people who you can be a little bit meaner to because I'm sure they've done something to you. Robin, I don't know.
No, I fully agree. I think you're absolutely right. I don't know what it is with Karen and Robin. I don't know really what it is with Karen full stop, actually. Like, she's just so off the reservation at the moment that she's, you know, I just couldn't believe her attitude this week and just storming out of her own party.
Who does that?
By the way, but also this is another one of Karen's things like, oh, I've got a perfume thing. Oh, now I've got a wig thing and it's in some like salon in an industrial estate or whatever. It's just so weird. She's so fucking odd. And it's like, why don't you understand that people can see through your bullshit? Like, stop trying to make a fucking silk purse out of a sow's ear. Just call it a sow's ear and hope for the fucking best. And they'll turn up. They'll support you.
Yeah.
But when you keep trying to oversell things and make things more than they are, people just think you're full of crap.
Yeah. Because you probably are.
Because you are. Okay, so let's move on to Below Deck. I don't know about you, Reagan, but I'm struggling with this season of Below Deck.
I feel like, I mean, last season was so explosive and we had loads to talk about all the time. I don't even feel like they remember that this is a show. Like, I feel like this is just cameras on a boat and we're just watching what they happen to be picking up. Doesn't feel produced or edited.
No, and it doesn't feel like they're making an effort. And there's this fine line between kind of being authentic and kind of providing entertainment. But there's nothing. I mean, I think Rachel is going to provide some entertainment. Like, watching her go back crazy over that caviar was like, it was like Jimmy sat down for 5 or 10 minutes to watch it with me, and even he's looking at me going, is she for real? I'm like, I think she really is for real.
Could you imagine, though, if you had, like, specifically ordered caviar, you saw the wrapper was a caviar wrapper, and then you checked it, and it was salmon? Like, it's a fairly large thing.
Sorry, you would, but, like, her reaction, I mean...
Oh, yeah.
She's
totally over the top.
In, like, the best possible way.
Yeah.
I can watch her all day.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other than that, there's really nothing about this episode that gets me even remotely excited. I mean, it's cute to see Captain Lee and his wife and to hear that story.
Oh, I love the whole, like, love story between the chef or not the chef, the captain and the chief stew. But it also, for me, kind of was like, I wonder if he kind of misses Kate, because Kate was kind of his work wife. Like, she knew all his quirks and he didn't have to, like, explain things to her. And now he's dealing with Francesca, and
he's missing
this
his
whole
wife
crew seems really messed up.
It is messed up. But also, I don't think that story would have made the cut in any other season of Below Deck. Do you know what I mean? It's like they've got nothing else to talk about. We've had Captain Lee's love story before. When
Yeah.
There's just nothing else to talk about. I mean, the most exciting thing is probably Shane.
Yeah.
But, like, that's a stretch, calling it exciting.
Yeah, I mean, the same with, like, I think we're going to see Aisling rise to second stew. I think we're seeing her really outperform Elizabeth. But again, like, okay. Like,
I know. Okay,
there's
so
some
you're
job
great at your
shuffling
job.
going round.
I
mean, even the guests are like, they wrote a bunch of shit on their preference sheet because they thought it made them sound fancy. They're not actually that fancy. Okay.
I mean, I'm struggling to think of anything. I mean, I don't think Shane's going to last past next episode.
No, I mean, hopefully we'll get some new blood and some shake-up. Or even just some more exciting guests. Like, get the pain in the ass guests back on. At least that's something. Because, like, this was...
Well, I think the problem is, like, as much as I, like, as a person,
yeah,
kind of difficult, everything's from the top down, right? So if you've got slightly batshit crazy chief stews and slightly batshit crazy bosuns, then something cool's going to happen.
Yeah, or misogynistic assholes.
Fucking Vanilla Eddie. Like,
yeah.
It could not be more beige cardigan if a beige
I mean, he drives the tugboat. Like, his normal job is a tugboat captain. I mean, he's a lovely person. He's caring, and he doesn't slag people off, but...
He's dull. He's so dull.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather stab hot needles into my eyeballs and fill them with bin juice.
Yeah.
Like, he's just dull, dull, dull. James, I think, has potential, but there's nobody for him to bounce off.
No, he needs a banter partner.
He needs a banter partner. And Izzy's not doing it because I don't think her banter's that genuine. I think she's just trying to be something.
Yeah.
Francesca's fairly boring.
Yeah. It is literally like there just happen to be cameras on this boat. Yeah. Not that this is a show. So we'll see. I mean...
I feel like it's bad casting.
Will we drop below deck this
Who
time?
knows? Well, I mean, we're picking up Atlanta next week, so...
We are. But we're also losing Potomac. Potomac's finale is tonight. This is Sunday. So Potomac's finale is tonight. So we'll be dropping Potomac and picking up Atlanta again.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I love Below Deck. It's always been one of my favorite
I know.
I'm waiting for it to kick off, but it is dull as shit right now.
I mean, maybe COVID will spice things up, because we haven't gotten to the COVID yet.
I mean, it doesn't say much for a TV show, though, if you need a
when you're hoping for COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
I just can't wait for COVID to kick in.
Most reality TV shows are like, oh no, we've lost it. Now it's boring because of COVID and nobody can hang out because of COVID. This one we're like, we need COVID to spice this shit up. Like, there's nothing happening.
No, we'll see. Maybe something will happen. Or maybe we'll just drop it. Who knows?
Or maybe we'll just drop. We're ruthless like that. Fuck it.
We are now.
Yeah, we are. We don't get paid enough to talk about boring fucking shows.
Oh, no. Speaking of which we're about to segue into another show, but $1 Million Listing New York is supposedly coming back, and I texted Kat, but I was just like, I mean, how interesting could it be? Like, they're in, like, full COVID lockdown. No. I mean, I'll watch it on my own because I think house porn is fun, but there's nothing to really talk about on that show anymore.
No. We'll leave that for us to enjoy.
Yeah.
Listen, let's move on to the OC. I think we'll just have to wait for Below Deck to fucking sort itself out. In the meantime, let's move on to another show that I feel is kind of underperforming on the Bravo roster at the moment. The OC.
Yeah, the OC. And if you do end up listening to the minisode, which you definitely should check out with David, we talk a little bit about the OC on that one as well. But yeah, so it seems like the girls are continuously confused by Elizabeth's divorce story, and rightly so.
Well, here's what I think. It is confusing, but I think it's confusing because it's really real. And like, we do talk about this on the minisode, so please go and watch it because it is great. Like, David's chat, he really knows.
Yeah, it was so much
these people. Like, it was so much fun. But I think Elizabeth is one of the OC cast members that is genuinely not ruined by reality TV yet. Like, she's not got her PR guard up.
Yeah.
And I think that she is messy in a really emotionally messy in a really real way. And the sides of her that are perhaps less flattering are still quite endearing because at least it's real, right?
Absolutely. I love Elizabeth. I think she is actually one of my favorites. Part of me also wants to be like, the reason these girls are so interested is because you keep talking about it, but you can only talk so much because obviously a lot of this divorce is, on a do not chat list or whatever. What do they call it? Non-disclosure, like an NDA. You can't chat
under
about
a gag order.
Yeah. So like the little bits don't make any sense and you as a person can't really expunge on them. It's just a fucked up situation, but it is very real.
And she is obsessed. Like, there is nothing else going on in her life right now except this divorce. And I've been in places like that. When you've got this new boyfriend that's treating you terribly, but you think he's great. That kind of dark moment.
Yeah.
And it's all you can talk about. And you're in that habit of bringing them into every conversation. And everything. She's there.
And everybody's like, fucking shut up. We hate this guy. We don't want to hear about him.
And the girls tell her, like, you're bored. It's getting boring. But it's because it's like, all she's got, like, she's processing. It's all she's got in her life. And it's such a damaging situation because it's dark from the inside out, this whole relationship.
It made my heart break for her because, this has been going on for 6 years, this divorce. This is a fucking long-ass time. It's a full-time job. That's a full-time job.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it's fighting, right? You're fighting for 6 years. And you've got to watch everything you say and everything you do for 6 years. And I think Gina's right. If you've got enough money, fucking take the money and run.
Yeah.
Walk away.
For sure. For sure, Gina is the voice of reason in that. I do like that chat that happened between Bronwyn, Kelly, and Elizabeth. Because obviously, like, Bronwyn and Kelly have known Elizabeth for a long time. And honestly, like, as real friends do, I would expect my real friends to be like, dude, you really got to stop talking about this. Like, we love you and we're here for you, but you got to stop. Like, it's not fun in a group setting.
And they weren't mean about it, but they were like, the time has come. Like, we're staging an intervention.
We're done.
Speaking of Bronwyn, I thought this episode was really interesting because obviously this is the point at which we are seeing COVID really break out in LA and they're going into lockdown. And Bronwyn obviously newly sober. That brings up a whole lot of issues. And I can't even imagine how terrifying that must be, being newly sober. She's 42 days sober, I think, in this episode.
Yeah.
And going into lockdown. So think about it. She's going to 1, maybe 2 meetings a day at the moment. That can't happen anymore. Like, she's bored in the house bored, and TikTokers will get that reference. And that's a trigger, right? What did we all do in lockdown? We've just started fucking drinking.
Yeah. I could not even imagine. I'd be scared.
It's going to be really difficult. Yeah.
Well, because it's not like AA is like a chain restaurant where you can be like, oh, well, I'll just hop online and do like online AA meetings. They're all run by the members. Like, there's not like an organization that sets these up. It's just people gathering together.
Well, and in the end, they did all go online, thank goodness. But at the time, she didn't know that. So that must be a really scary place to be. And also just the whole, anybody not sober, not suffering with addiction, going through a pandemic, that's scary enough as it is.
Could you imagine being locked in a house with that many children, needing to homeschool, needing to do all this stuff, and like not having your like coping belt? Your coping belt is empty because you don't know how to cope with things anymore because you've used alcohol for so long.
Yeah, that's frightening. That's terrifying. And listen, you can all go on about how it's easier with a massive house and a pool, and let me tell you, I'm sure it is easier with a massive house and a pool.
Let's be real.
And also, half her kids are probably of an age where they can help with the younger kids.
The olders can do the youngers.
So I think that there's enough hands-on, but that's just logistically, like emotionally and mentally. That's a fucking huge pressure to have on you. And there's an element of Bronwyn being a little bit sort of almost like ADHD anyway. Like, she struggles to concentrate, like to figure. She's very fucking manic, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's vibrating at this like really high frequency.
Right.
So the sort of being contained and trapped, all of this while you're going through what you're going through, if you're going through it, because there was some shade thrown on Bronwyn on a Watch What Happens Live. Like, neither of us have seen it, but we've read about it. So
yeah,
tell us.
and I'm sure you all have as well. Like Kelly was very vocal about a lot of the stuff on the show involving Bronwyn as not being 100% fact. Like, Kelly thinks her alcoholism is bullshit. She also thinks, Bronwyn has recently come out as being gay. Kelly calls bullshit on that as well. Now, I don't know. I mean, part of me wonders, like, is this just Kelly, being a dickhead? Because that's Kelly.
Yeah.
Or looking for a spinoff show. I mean, who knows?
Do you know what? I actually think that I think Bronwyn is an alcoholic.
I don't know if you could fake it to that point.
I don't think that.
In real life.
That seems real to me. And maybe I'm just really gullible. The gay thing, I don't know. I mean, I think, isn't it just a line? I think honestly people change too. Like, I think it's totally feasible for a woman of a certain age to decide that that's which I don't think it's a choice. Obviously, it's not a choice, but I think we're all on a sliding spectrum to a certain extent, and I think that spectrum can change according to experiences. And I think if she now wants to go and explore that, then go and explore that.
Well, I mean, she's been very open about threesomes. I mean, she's been very open about threesomes happening in her marriage, and it very much was always two women and her husband, always. Yeah. Like, it would never be two dudes and her. So, I think maybe this is just something she's still exploring. I think you're absolutely right. Like, maybe she just feels comfortable putting this label on it for now. And I mean, a lot of social media that I've seen have been like, oh, poor Sean and blah, blah, blah. But part of me's like, maybe Sean has known about this all the time. Like, you don't know. You see like this much of their real life. You have no idea the real conversations that have happened between Sean and Bronwyn and what he knows and what he doesn't know and what he's had a hand in and what he hasn't had a hand in. Like, I don't know.
This is a long story for them. Like, this isn't just the 4 or 5 seasons we've seen her in.
No.
This is like nearly 30 years.
This is the 20 years of marriage.
Right. So, you know, like, let's just give them. I'm not going to sit here and call somebody a liar. Like, when it comes to alcoholism and their sexuality, I think that's a reach. I think people can call themselves what they like. And also alcoholism, let's be clear with Kelly, like, I don't think Kelly's particularly empathetic or in tune with addiction and problems like
or
that. Like, I think alcohol,
to what other people are going through.
It's like sort of vodka for breakfast and fucked all the time. And I don't think she understands this idea of like a functioning alcoholic. And at the end of the day, if somebody feels they have a problem with alcohol, then they have a problem with alcohol.
Right. You have to respect that. You're not them. If they say they have a problem with it, then they do have a problem with it. Yeah. Like, it's that simple. It's not.
It's not for you to decide whether somebody else is an alcoholic or not.
No.
So we'll see. But I mean, this lockdown thing, and of course, Gina's stuck in her sad, depressing little house.
I mean, this is the point where I do feel sorry for Gina that her house is on the smaller side and they have 6 children to homeschool and take care of in there. I mean, that's major. I have no idea how people co-parent during COVID and figuring out like who's going to be the one staying at home and like doing the homeschool. Is it something that's shared? Do they just, spend all week here and all week there, and that parent has to do, like, I don't know.
I mean, at first, when we went into lockdown here, you weren't even allowed to switch the kids. Like, it was only later on in lockdown. Like, the kid was stuck where the kid was. But then it was only later down that they kind of relaxed it, that they could move the kids around in those kind of situations. But, I mean, obviously, I felt for her. I felt everything that she was feeling. Like, when she's talking to her mom and she's like, they've shut the schools for a month. I mean, we were there, right?
Right. And be like, I was being the dickhead who was buying pasta all the time. I didn't even buy toilet paper. I love Gina. I feel like we're seeing more and more of who Gina is come out. I think last season was not necessarily authentically her because she was dealing with so much other shit. But like, I'm really enjoying Gina this season. I'm enjoying seeing more of who she is with Travis, who she is as a mom. her New York roots coming out. I love it. I love it all.
Yeah, I do too. I find her, there's some, I don't know, it's weird, like there's something that I just don't warm to that much, but it isn't that I think she's a bad person. I feel like we haven't known the real her. Like I'm getting to know her for the first time.
Yeah.
I need a bit more time with Gina.
Fair enough.
And then we've got Shannon, obviously, who unsurprisingly is just being a massive drama queen about everything, and she needs to go.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is what I think is interesting. So we see like Corona surging, and we see kind of what everybody's doing, and you know, Kelly's worried about business, which I think is a legit concern for sure. Shannon does not have any legit concerns for me. Like I'm not, whether or not she has this lung condition, social media, I don't know what else is going on in your life. Like, aren't you worried about homeschooling your kid? Doesn't seem so to be. You're just worried about using the last paper towel.
Well, and she's also the idiot that's stockpiling and think that that's the thing to do. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like,
right. The greedy bastards of Corona.
Just this entitled, I deserve to be the one. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
I can't with her. She's too much.
No, I'm over her. For me, she had a chance to really make this season hers and kick ass, and it just hasn't happened. And so I don't think it can.
No, I agree. I think she's way too insecure to be doing anything useful on the show now. And I think she's lost these anchors, like as much as I think Tamra and Vicky kind of overshadowed her. She's nothing without them, I think is what we're finding. She doesn't have enough to... I think
Shannon would be a great friend. Be a friend on the show. That's about as much as she has to offer, in my opinion. She can't be an anchor person.
No, I agree. Now, normally we... I couldn't speak then. Had a moment. Normally we would slot Salt Lake City in here. I mean, that's not easy to say, to give them credit. Slot Salt Lake City.
What? Salt Lake.
But we're not going to, because we did
that's on the mini-sode.
And you should
pop
go
over there.
To that.
For sure.
But don't go before you listen to our chat on Southern Charm, because that's coming up.
Yes. Southern Charm is back.
It is, and I am glad that we've added this, because I think that this is we've spoken about it last week. I think that they are the one show that is handling COVID, Black Lives Matter, like head on. I think in the other shows, it's very much in the background.
Right.
And we're seeing it creep in. But it's full head on with Southern Charm, and I love it.
Yeah, because I mean, Southern Charm just like stopped production. Like they didn't even have them try to like film themselves and do all that kind of weird stuff. They stopped, and then they picked back up, and they picked right back up in kind of the height of the Black Lives Matter movement, which is so fascinating in this part of the United States, because this is a part of the United States that still has people flying the Confederate flags and statues of very vocal pro-slavery kind of icons of the United States past. And so in this episode, we see kind of Leva and, talking about taking down the statue of I forget his name. I know the last name's Calhoun.
Mr. Calhoun.
Yeah, Mr. Calhoun, Catherine's like great grandfather, who was a vice president of the United States, who was also very pro-slavery. And so they're trying to take his statue down in this square.
It's really interesting, because Charleston's, for a southern city, incredibly white, right? It's like, I mean,
most southern cities are incredibly white, but yeah.
But it's a very very wealthy, very...
Yeah, it was a port town, so it got all the money from the ships. Like, it's always been that's where, like, the cotton came in and came out. Like, it's always been a very affluent city.
So it's really interesting to sort of see this. It's kind of like a microcosm, right? It's really... I feel like if you look at Danny and Catherine in this particular episode, like, we don't see much of Catherine, but we understand quite clearly where she's coming from. Like, the recognition of her privilege is absolutely unthinkable to her. She doesn't understand it at all. Whereas you see Danny struggling, but really making the strides to comprehend it, when she's like, oh my God, I never thought about that, and I'm ashamed that I did. You can see Danny doing all the right things.
Right.
And you just know that Catherine's not going to be going down that route.
No. And maybe quite the opposite route.
Yeah,
to be fair.
She's got herself into hot water at this point by sending a monkey emoji to a black lady on social media.
Like, could Catherine be that stupid?
Here's the thing. Yes, I absolutely think she can be. But I think there's no excuse for it. Like, I think the fact that she can be that stupid. I think she is that stupid. I don't think she did it. I don't think she did it
with racist thoughts in mind.
To be racist consciously.
Right.
I just am confounded by how she cannot understand that it is racist, that it has that effect.
Yeah.
But she can't. I just don't think she can. I think her privilege is so embedded.
Right.
And so there's no other way for her to think about this.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think you're 100% correct. Like, I think it's very telling that kind of, we see at the rally around the statue a woman who is like, my family, were slave owners. This is disgusting. We need to rectify this, which I think is what people need to do.
And kind of apologizes on behalf of her family and her
100%. Yeah. Recognize your privilege, recognize where it came from, and start doing the work to change it. That's what you use your voice for, to amplify the message, right? And to make or to be quiet and let other people be heard. Whereas I think Catherine I think Catherine lacks the ability to self-reflect.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's not very smart. Like, I just think it's beyond her, honestly. Like, the way that she reacts, and I think she's entitled and spoiled, and I don't think anybody's ever challenged her or asked her to think of anything other than what fucking color shoes to wear in the morning. And I think when Lever says to her, or whoever it is, I can't remember, I think it's Lever, about bringing the thing down, she's like, oh, it's fine, it's ugly. Like, that's the response. There's no consideration of the implications of this. And when you think about what's going on in the world right now, like that's her response is...
That was her boss. That was the woman who owned Gwen.
Oh, it was her boss. Yeah. It was Gwen. And she was like, oh, whatever, that old thing, it's ugly. It's like, have an opinion. Like, have an opinion. I don't even care if she was fighting to keep that statue there.
Right.
That would have been an opinion that I would have disagreed with, but respected. But to be so blasé about it and so ignorant is just unforgivable.
No, for sure.
But she's going to come up against it this season. Like, she's going to get a rude awakening, and I don't know how she's going to handle it. But she's like, I just got so much hate for that. And I'm like, you can't see this?
Yeah, I don't even understand why that emoji is there, to be really honest with you. Like, I literally have never used it. It's never come up in a conversation. It's never been needed for me. I can list about 10 different emojis I'd rather have on there.
I use the see no, speak no, hear no. Evil monkeys, those ones.
Right.
So when, like, somebody sends me a picture I don't want to see, I'm like, oh, I'll send that one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think have the emoji, but let's use it because we saw monkeys at the zoo. Like,
right.
Let's be smart enough to know when to not use that emoji. It just, it just doesn't make any fucking sense to me. And this is the,
I'm really not. I mean, Catherine has always been a bit of a ride for me. Like, I don't think I liked her at the beginning. Then I think I started to like her. And now I think I'm back on kind of the, you know what, she's never really changed kind of train of thought. Like, I think the last couple seasons, I was like, okay, like, she is really growing and she's, trying to be the single mother and, do all these things. Especially last season. I was very pro Catherine last season.
Yeah,
but, like,
me too.
I've been very anti.
But there are things about her that I respect and admire, and completely separate. It's this idea of being able to see the grey in people, right? And
for sure,
I can see that she's grown into a great mother, and she was in a shitty situation that she actually fought her way out of with grace and dignity. I felt with the Ravenel thing and all of that. Do I think this is a great side of her? No, this is like the
Yeah.
shit side of Catherine. And do I think there's room for growth? Sure, she's shown us she can grow.
I wonder if the growth is real though. Like for me, I feel like we're seeing season 1, season 2 Catherine all over again. Like it's almost like this middle part has not happened.
Yeah, I mean, I still
The
think
talking shit.
I mean, she's
No,
still a
I know,
good
but
mom.
yeah, fair enough. But I mean, like, she didn't have kids like those first seasons,
Yeah.
and all she did was talk shit about people, like she did with, Cameron and her husband. Be fucking rude and not really give a shit. Like, I don't know. I just think it's
I think you may be
interesting.
right. Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
We will see,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a really interesting view, a really interesting watch to see this play out in Charleston, in that city.
For sure. I'm really glad that they're including this and they are having this conversation, especially on this show. I think it's really important.
Let's wrap up quickly with Austin and Madison as well, because this, like, I love Madison. I really love her. Like, she's a badass. She's a great mom. She looks after herself. She's a businesswoman. She's beautiful. Yeah, she can be a little messy, but she's scrappy and feisty, and I like that about her.
Yeah.
Austin is just not good enough for her. He's just not there yet.
No, I could not even believe that chat with Austin and his family. Like, his sister's from New York, so it was like seeing the dark side of COVID. Like, they were hit fucking hard. And like, even just watching the show now, because this is June, this isn't like March when we didn't really know anything. This is the summer. We were all very aware of what we needed to do to try to stop this. And even me as the watcher, looking at what's going on in South Carolina, where people aren't fucking wearing masks, and there's like massive groups of people, and it's just like, what the fuck?
I know. And this is only in the summer, right? This is like when it was
Yeah, this is a couple months ago. Like, we all knew.
I know, it's crazy.
It wasn't March where we were unsure.
No, but speaking of his sister, she fucking nails it. I love that woman. When they're talking about
Katie
Madison,
is a badass.
And the thing is, of course, Austin's parents are like, you should work it out with Madison, because they're hoping that she just takes him off their hands and drags him into adulthood. But her sister is like, she has a kid, get serious or get the fuck out. And I like standing ovation for Austin.
Hell yes. Katie Kroll, you are the fucking woman.
You really, really are. She genuinely is a boss. And Austin is, what I love is Austin's like baffled that she has this opinion. Like, he can't even understand it. It's because he's just an overgrown toddler.
Yeah. Well, and he doesn't understand why Madison's mad at him, that he could be positive, and he's just been fucking around. And how dare him, like, turn it around on her about her being at her work, being the exact same thing as him fucking around all night long, drinking with who knows who.
Yeah, when he's like, well,
you are a dickhead, my friend.
He's like, I could have caught it from you at work. I mean, do you know what?
Maybe you did.
She caught it at work earning a living. She didn't catch it out on the lash with 100 randos.
The single working mother may have caught it at her job. You entitled dickhead.
I know. I hope this is the last straw. Like, she needs to ditch him.
She needs to be with John Pringle. 100%.
She needs to be with John Pringle.
Massive crush box.
So massive. I got massive fizzy knickers for John Pringle.
Hell yeah. And he's kind of the one where, like, I watched some of what he says, and I'm like, I should fucking be appalled at you.
I know.
Damn.
I agree. But he has this charm.
Yeah.
Where you're like, I feel like he's a bad boy, but a good boy. Like, he's good enough. Yeah. He's got just about the right amount of good and bad.
Well, that's what I was going to say. He's got, like, enough of the bad boy to fucking make you be interested, and it's sexy, and it's hot. But he's also, like, a really good dude who, like, flies to go see his kids because that's what he needed to do during COVID. Like, because his kids see him. And, like, there are all these other instances of him just being a great guy with a heart of gold. And then they'll show some clip of him talking some shit about, like, hooking up with this girl when she was in a relationship.
It's like, yeah. I know. I feel the same, but there is
and we're not alone.
irresistible I know.
We're not alone. We did a poll on Instagram, which he responded to, by the way, and like made my fucking day. He shared our story and gave us little
I would have blushed.
heart boxes. But oh god, now I can't find it. I was gonna pull up the percentage. I think it was only like 20% of people thought we were insane because we felt that way. But let me pull it up.
No. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong in fancying John Pringle, I don't want to be right.
Hell no. There were 232 who voted. It's all of us. We are all in the same boat with the sexy, bad boy, good guy vibes. But 89 were like, nope, it's just you guys.
Well, those 89 can suck a bag of balls.
They have no idea what they're talking about.
No, they're obviously...
You're obviously wrong.
Yes, wrong. Wrong. Anyway, listen, that wraps us up for this week. Thank you so much. Remember, please check out the Minnesota with David Yontef.
Yeah.
It is absolutely brilliant. He is really as close as you're ever going to get to the Housewives. So I'm very excited to have him on the show. And of course, just a little reiteration, please rate and review. But in the meantime, thank you very much for giving us your time as always. And remember,
smart people watch reality TV too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Please subscribe, rate, and review TV My Husband Hates wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at TV My Husband Hates and join the Facebook group to keep the conversation going when the podcast ends. If Twitter's your thing, you'll find us at TV Husbands Hate. Theme music and production for TV My Husband Hates is by Jimmy Sims.